No, this is not a movie about erectile dysfunction. One of my friends thought that when I told them that I was going to see this movie today. That shows you what kind of company I keep, I guess. Hello once again, watchers of good movies. My name is Nick Pell, and this is once again coming from my white room. Now, tonight I am going to be talking about the movie Get On Up. This is a James Brown biopic. It runs along the lines of kind of how Jersey Boys did. You can click up here for my review of that. In that, it follows the life of an artist or a group of artists, and it shows how they kind of got their rise to fame and all the struggles and hardships that came along with that. But this movie follows James Brown. He's an African-American artist in the 60s who just is a really big, essentially jazz musician. He's played by Chadwick Boseman, who does a phenomenal job in this role. I know nothing about James Brown, I'll say that up front. I really knew none of his music. I probably recognized a few tunes in the movie itself, but I knew nothing about this guy before going into this film, so it's completely new information to me. And so I don't know if his portrayal was accurate whatsoever. It could have been not on the ball at all. It could have been perfectly square on. I don't know. But in my opinion, he did a really good job in the role. He captured the essence of what James Brown seemed to be, in that he was kind of an asshole. He treated people like crap. He had a huge ego on him, like none other. He thought he was like the big star of everything. And he wasn't always like this, and that's what the movie kind of shows, is that he came from very, very tough beginnings as a child, especially with his parents and then the lifestyle that he had to lead. And then even growing up, just kind of becoming a struggling artist. He was always about the group at first, and then he kind of floated away and just kind of became so centered around himself and saw himself as the only reason that the group stayed together. So then things kind of occurred, which I won't really get into here. But regardless, the guy is a musical genius. He knows how to do funk music, jazz music, soul music. He knows how to do these things. And there's a scene where he is arguing with the drummer about how to play a certain song. He wants the drummer to be in a different time signature than the rest of the band. And musically, on paper, it doesn't seem to make sense. But then they do it. It basically says, if it sounds good and it feels good, then it is good. And it's musically good. And it's music. So he had a very different way of doing music, and as a fellow musician of jazz, I really liked seeing that, and it was just kind of a cool movie for me in that respect. So, that being said, the music in this film is really, really cool. I'm assuming everyone in this movie did all the singing and playing and everything. And so that in and of itself was really, really cool for me. Just for the fact that I was able to be exposed to a bunch of different jazz styles and jazz music that I wasn't originally exposed to. It's just kind of a cool thing for me. The beginning of the movie is a little bit tough to follow because it flashes around a lot. It jumps from him as a child to him towards the end of his life to him just starting out, and it just kind of goes in all these different directions, kind of highlights the main points of the life of James Brown and kind of shows the main points of the story that we were going to go into. Not knowing that from the get-go, it does get a little confusing, and I thought that that was what the whole movie is going to be, which it kind of is. It jumps around a fair amount, but it goes back to those certain parts when they are required and when they help to clarify a certain situation or help to build on a certain situation, so I did like that. The character also breaks the fourth wall a lot in this movie. Not as much as Jersey Boys did, but every so often he'll address the audience as they're watching, and I thought that was kind of cool. They didn't overdo it like Jersey Boys did, but they did it subtly, and I kind of enjoyed seeing that. Nelson Ellis is also in this movie as Bobby Bird, and he is a really good actor. He is probably the second main character in this film just because he is his best friend and just kind of the sidekick throughout the whole film itself, and I really liked seeing him in the movie as well. He's kind of the guy who held James Brown to the ground until he could no longer do so. And then lastly, the ending to this film is actually kind of well done. It's done a lot better, again, than Jersey Boys. It kind of ties up everything in more or less a knot, and we actually get to see kind of what I wanted to see at the end of Jersey Boys, in that we got to see a kind of message of what happened to the James Brown throughout the rest of his life, and I kind of liked seeing that. We got to see what he did for the rest of his life, and then the day he died, which was Christmas 2006, I believe. So there's that. The guy kept performing until he was in his 70s, and So he was a fantastic musician and just kept going for as long as he possibly could. He probably couldn't have done anything else with his life besides play music, and he was great at it. That's my review of Get On Up. I honestly found myself enjoying it, despite the fact that I was the only person in the theater under the age of 50. The music was really interesting. I like being exposed to a new jazz figure that I originally had no knowledge of whatsoever, and just being able to get that kind of essence and see a half-decent movie, which is 2 hours and 15 minutes. The length is a little much. I thought they could have maybe condensed it slightly, left out a few bits and pieces here or there, but overall, I did enjoy Get On Up. It wasn't nearly as good as Guardians of the Galaxy, which I saw yesterday, but they are two completely different movies in and of themselves. Let me know what you thought of Get On Up down in the comments down below. Did you like it as much as I did? Did you hate it a lot more than I did? Let me know. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe if you so choose. I'd appreciate it immensely. And as always, my good people, my name is Nick Pell, and once again, keep on watching.